Hi, and welcome to Chapter 5 of the Director of Surgical Services Recruitment Toolkit. Today, we're discussing the topic of interviews with the Director of Surgical Services. First, a word about process. These insights came from a comprehensive survey of over 100 Directors of Surgical Services about their recent interview experiences. In other words, these aren't my insights. This is behind the curtain information given to us from the people you're trying to recruit. So don't shoot the messenger. I think you'll find their comments are original and insightful. Let's begin. We're going to go over questions to ask, questions not to ask, and insights gleaned. There are some questions that Directors of Surgical Services love to be asked. Questions that energize them and play right into their life's work. First, what are your best process improvement projects? This ties back nicely into the last installment in which we detailed the metrics for a Director of Surgical Services, including on-time starts, turnover times, and case cancellation rates. A related second question is, describe a problem in those operations and how you fixed it in your last position. The third question the Director of Surgical Services loves to answer is, how do you plan to spend the first 90 days on the job? Now let's turn to the question the Director of Surgical Services doesn't like to answer. I think you'll see these preferences aren't in the spirit of avoidance of tough questions, but come across as rote questions that prompt canned responses that give little true insight. Like, what is your leadership style? Another question Director of Surgical Services can't stand is, what makes you qualified for this position? Questions like this unnecessarily frame the candidate as having to sell themselves into the position. And that is inconsistent with the supply-demand dynamics. Remember, the Director of Surgical Services is the hardest position in the hospital to fill. You are searching for the best fit from a pool of in-demand, highly professional experts in their field. Don't treat them like they're amateurs. The most important thing that you should know about the interview process with the Director of Surgical Services is the importance of the hiring executive. Put simply, the number one reason why a candidate takes a job is to work with a new team. Metaphorically, the candidate imagines having coffee and talking about challenges with his or her new boss. Therefore, insert your hiring executive into the interview process in 3 key areas if possible. 2 are musts, 1 is a secret hack. First, you want your hiring executive to speak on the telephone with the candidate right away. As soon as you as the HR person know that the candidate is desirable, get them on the phone with the hiring executive. This is a 30-minute interview. That relationship will serve as connective tissue later on. Second, 89% of Directors of Surgical Services candidates said the tour of the operating room was the most important part of their interview process. This is a great opportunity for your hiring executive to describe areas for improvement and will result in impromptu displays of applied knowledge and leadership from your candidate. Finally, and this is a bonus, if you can get your hiring executive to actually pick the candidate up at the airport and drive them to the hotel, inevitably they will pass a coffee shop that your hiring executive will point out. Coffee with the boss. See how that works? Now let's assume that your hiring executive is ready to play ball. Get on the phone with your candidate, take them on a tour of the operating room, and maybe even pick them up at the airport. What should they say? First, they should be honest about the challenges ahead. Second, they should discuss the possibilities for growth, new service lines, and physician recruitment. Third, they should explain how the administration will offer support in the success of the operating room. And finally, they will discuss tangible ways they have championed work-life balance. So those are the behind-the-curtain insights about the interview process from the candidates themselves. In our show notes, you can download the interview form that allows you to compare and score candidates and ties nicely to the 10-5-2 model that we discussed in previous chapters. And stay tuned for Chapter 6 of the Director of Surgical Services Recruitment Toolkit, how to close the deal on a Director of Surgical Services candidate. Good luck and keep up the great work.